recent years, we have seen barriers broken in sports like tennis and gymnastics, where people of color have risen to become the best on the planet. Our next guest has been working to create that same revolution in the world of figure skating, and he's making some real progress. That's why he is today's Rad Human. All right, from Diversify Ice, let's say hi to Joel, everybody. Give it up for Joel. So before we talk about the program, tell us how you got into figure skating.
Oh my gosh, Kelly. So my family, we always loved watching figure skating on TV, the Olympics, Worlds,
It's
all
like
of that.
the one sport I remember in the Olympics when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, that's the one that we always watched, right?
Yeah.
But my family, we're from Miami. Like it is 110 degrees
I'm from Texas.
every day.
Yeah.
Right, so we just don't think about ice skating down there, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was one of those northern sports. So it's put in the back of my mind as like one of those sports that I just won't ever have a chance to try.
Yeah.
But one year, my school started an incentive program where they gave us free tickets to bowling, pizza, and ice skating for being on the honor roll. So I was like, wow,
That's
Mom.
a great incentive program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that really opened the door for me. I told my mom, like, I got on the honor roll, I got a free ticket to go ice skating. Yeah. So I went out there, tied up my rental skates, and immediately just jumped on the ice and tried what I thought people were doing on TV. Mm-hmm. I had no idea if it was like the real thing.
Yeah. Triple axel. Here we go.
Right. Like, So, I mean, I was jumping and spinning and dancing, and a woman came over and she said to me, wow, you're really good. How long have you been doing this? And I said, this is my first day. I'm in rental skates.
Got here. Yeah.
So
she can see the athleticism already.
She saw talent there. So she said, I have to coach you. Like, please tell your mom. So she worked with me on these public sessions, and I was able to learn quickly my doubles and triple jumps. And that's how I got started. Oh yeah, there's me doing.
We are so different. So wait, you say that early on you were made to feel different in the rink though, right? What happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my first times, of course, you know, when you start skating, you start on a public session. That's where everyone gets out there. You just kind of like move around. And I was learning my tricks on that session. Mm-hmm. And I got really good. So it was time for me to transition from the public sessions to these freestyle sessions. These freestyle sessions are geared for competitive skaters, right? And the only thing is you had to have your own skates to be on that session. Mm-hmm. So my mom, you know, took me to get these used freestyle skates. And I was really excited because although they were used, they were mine and they were new to me.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So I remember going in there and, you know, getting ready to take my skates out of my skating bag. And a white woman comes over to me and says, are those your skates? And I'm like, yeah, these are my skates. I'm about to get on the ice.
You weren't even thinking.
I wasn't even thinking about what she was going to say next. And then she came a bit closer and said to me, no, those aren't your skates. You're stealing somebody's skates. And I was like, no, these really are my skates. My mom bought them. I'm about to get on the ice. And she sort of marched to the front desk. And you can tell, I couldn't hear everything she was saying, but you can tell she was pointing at me, that she was continuing with that story, that somehow this guy was...
And you're how old, by the way? Not that it matters your age, but I'm just curious.
14.
Oh my gosh.
So just having that first instance of racism was kind of a shock at an ice rink.
So that didn't deter you, which I love about your spirit, because you started, not only you got into it yourself, you kept doing less, you kept going at it, you became a coach. Yeah.
So, you know, I started getting really good, of course, but I started at 14. People are starting to retire at that age, and figure skating is like one of those, you know, sports you gotta be like, achieve your goals by 16 and you're out. But more people of color started to come to me and say, wow, it's really cool to see a coach that looks like me that can actually help you to become successful in the sport. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I really saw was that they were sharing the same stories of, you know, this sport is too expensive. There's biased judging. You know, there's a lot of these racial issues going on with the sport, and they don't have that sense of community. So I thought to myself, okay, this is really much bigger than what I'm doing here in my little community,
your world.
my little world here. This is definitely a nationwide issue, and that's why I started Diversify Ice in 2017.
So what's the biggest hurdle that you see for diversifying the sport?
Oh my gosh, Kelly, there are so many hurdles in this sport. Again, lack of representation. The sport is too expensive. So much of us are just priced out. But also, just navigating the sport, having that sense of community. So at Diversify
Like a network, yeah.
The network. So we're working to build out that network. We have so many skaters of color across the country that we pair up with mentors from around the country, such as Olympians Ty Babylonia, Atoy Wilson, and so many other competitive skaters and great coaches and choreographers to help them achieve their dreams.
Yeah.
And then there's now so many more skaters of color going through to the nationals, worlds, junior national, international competitions. It's really exciting that this is all happening because of Diversify Ice.
Yeah.
And I can see...
And because that 14-year-old kid that was so excited with his skates. Like,
absolutely.
That's incredible. Well, we have one of the Diversify Ice ambassadors in the audience who began as a student with them. Let's say hi to Zuri. What's up, Zuri?
Zuri's amazing.
So, what role has Diversify Ice played in your life?
I'm so glad you asked. Diversify Ice has played a huge role in my life. I started skating when I was 4 years old, and I always felt like there was something missing in my life. And that was just the fact that there weren't that many people who looked like me on the ice. But Diversify Ice has really changed that for me. They've welcomed me into their community. I first met them through one of their skate raisers, and it was an incredible experience. I saw so many talented skaters of color skating and performing on the ice, and I looked to my mom and I was like, hey, I want to be them. So we came in contact with Joel, and he took me in as an ambassador. I meet kids at the rink who come up to me and they see me as an inspiration to them. And that just means the world to me because it's something I didn't have when I was a kid. And just being that light to them is really important.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Where do you hope Diversify Ice is going?
Yeah, so great question because we have so many great goals. But I do want to share a little bit more, too, about some of the issues that just recently happened of, going to an ice rink recently at a competition and, going there expecting to bring my student to compete, and the rink itself is telling us, sorry, the rink is closed. They are not expecting a person of color to be an actual coach.
Oh my gosh.
And then when we actually finally get in there, they immediately assume that this is a parent and a kid, as opposed to a parent, a coach, and a student.
Yeah.
So it's really wild to just kind of see that these issues are still persistent in the sport. So for me, at a basic level, I want to see those changes happen where people can be in their community and say, wow, a Black person could be a coach.
Yeah.
A Black person could be a skater, and not think twice and be like, I wonder if that person's here for nefarious reasons, or, are they here for something different? Also, but a little bit further out, to see at a competitive level, at the Worlds, at the Olympics, to see more Black and brown skaters achieving those heights and goals, because it is possible. And it shouldn't just be the token Black kid every 8 years or so that you see one Black skater at the World's competitive level. This should be a normal thing to see multiple skaters of color at that level.
And to bring it back too, starting with that incentive that your school did, if more schools did that,
absolutely.
First of all, you would change the community alone with getting these kids to have better grades, to stay committed, the discipline it takes to do that,
absolutely.
And then you get rewarded for that.
And that's what
that incentive,
And that's why Diversify Ice is providing those type of resources as well. So we're working with local schools, K through 12, also colleges, one of them. We kicked off the very first HBCU figure skating team in the country at Howard University.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And then we're also working to build out a couple others. So hopefully in the next year, we'll have at least 2 more HBCUs that will have collegiate figure skating teams as well this year.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. Ultimately, too, I would love to have the very first Black-owned figure skating ice rink in the country.
Yeah.
And to have that...
I feel like you deserve that most. That's incredible.
Oh, thank you. And one huge important piece of that ice rink would be a museum that's going to highlight the past and excellent trailblazers of the sports. I really want to show where we've come from, where we are now, and where we have to go left. I'm so excited to be, leading this charge and making a difference in this way. And I would love to also build out that next generation of competitive figure skaters.
We are so impressed with the changes that you're bringing to the ice and the goals that you have moving forward. And that's why we are giving Diversify Ice $10,000 just to help out. I'm so excited. One day That's cool, man. Thank you so much, Zuri, as well, for joining us.